On April 5th at exactly 1842, a customer's card failed at my family's store. The receipt printed out with an error code, bold and unmistakable. Her voice rose above the freezer hum as she tried again. Same result. She left angry. Later, Maya, my boss, counted the loss and I felt it in my gut. That timestamp, 1842, kept echoing in my head. It wasn't the first time. Every evening, something glitched, a flicker, a freeze, a failure. Always at 1842. I started to wonder, was this just bad luck or something more? Let me take you back to where it started. I remember her face, tight with frustration, tapping her card again and again as the machine beeped and finally spat out a useless slip. I took the receipt, hands a little shaky. There it was, April 5th, 2024, 1842, error code in bold. She didn't want my apology, she wanted her groceries. When she stormed out, the loss felt personal. Every dollar matters here. I stared at the receipt, trying to make sense of it. The overhead lights buzzed louder than usual. I looked at the clock, still 1842. That number was starting to feel like a warning. I slipped the receipt into my pocket, already dreading the conversation with Maya. But what stuck with me wasn't the money, it was the pattern. This wasn't the first time a transaction had failed at that exact moment. Something was happening. I just didn't know what yet. After she left, I lined up the day's receipts on the counter, scanning them one by one. My fingers paused on another failed transaction. Same error code, same time, 1842. A chill crept up my spine. This wasn't random. The same thing had happened last week and the week before. I remembered the lights flickering, the register freezing for a second. Always at 1842. I wasn't chasing ghosts. I needed proof. The receipts were hard evidence, printed, time-stamped, undeniable. I started to wonder, was this just our store, or was it happening elsewhere along Route 478? The pattern was too precise to ignore. I pressed the receipts flat, heart pounding. Someone had to care. But who? I found Tommy Reyes outside the volunteer firehouse, leaning against the brick wall, keys in hand. He looked up when I called his name, cautious. I told him about the surges, the receipts, the time, 1842. He hesitated, then admitted he'd noticed strange timing too. Calls coming in right at 1842, alarms tripping, even the firehouse lights flickering. He mentioned a call log from the previous week, surge-related, time-stamped at 1842. He wasn't supposed to share electrical records, but he let me glance at the log. It was official, not a rumor. I felt a strange relief. I wasn't imagining this. If the firehouse was seeing it too, this was bigger than our store. Tommy looked away like he was holding something back. Before I could ask, he changed the subject. Still, I had what I needed, another piece of proof. But why always 1842? The town council office smelled like old paper and burnt coffee. Linda Park sat behind her desk, eyes flicking up as I walked in. I asked about complaints, anything about power surges or flickering lights. She hesitated, then slid a stack of council minutes across the desk. "Be quick," she said. I flipped through them, scanning for anything that matched my receipts. There it was, a complaint about lights flickering near Route 478, time-stamped, of course, at 1842. The handwriting was sharp, almost angry. Linda watched me closely, lips pressed tight. She didn't want this getting out, not with the town already on edge. The minutes were official but easy to overlook. I wondered how many other complaints had been buried, dismissed as old wiring or faulty bulbs. But I knew better. The pattern was real, and it was spreading. I left with a copy of the minutes, my thoughts racing. What was it about Route 478? Evan Brooks stood by his truck in the utility company lot, arms crossed, eyes wary. I told him about the receipts, the error codes, the timing. He shrugged, trying to look disinterested, until I said the time, 1842. He stiffened. I asked about the junction box near mile marker 6. He muttered something about a component swap he never logged, then looked away. Guilt flickered across his face. Everyone knew Evan hated paperwork, but this felt bigger than a skipped form. He wouldn't say more, just kept glancing at the office door. He was hiding something, maybe to protect himself, maybe to avoid fallout. But his reaction to the error code told me I was on the right track. The junction box at mile 6. What had he done there? I walked away with more questions than answers, but now I had a direction. If Evan was nervous, there had to be a reason. Back at the store, I watched the clock edge toward 1842. My palms were damp as I hovered near the card reader. When the second hand hit, I yanked the plug. The lights flickered, same as always. But this time, the register didn't freeze. A customer at the counter frowned, annoyed I couldn't take her card. I forced a smile and apologized. Better to lose a sale than another chunk of our margin. Maya wouldn't be thrilled, but at least I had something to explain. For once, I felt like I'd gotten ahead of it, but I knew this was just a temporary fix. The real issue was still out there, humming along Route 478, waiting for 1842. I couldn't keep unplugging things forever. I needed to see what was happening at mile marker 6. Was that where it all began? That night, I drove out along Route 478, headlights cutting through the dark. The road was empty. The park blurred past on one side, the firehouse a faint glow behind me. I slowed near mile marker 6, eyes scanning for the utility pole. It stood out, taller, cleaner, the junction box newer than the rest. I pulled over, engine idling, and stared. Evan's words echoed in my mind, the unlogged swap, the matching error codes. The air felt dense, like the moment before a storm. I didn't get out. I just sat there, heart pounding. Was this box the source of it all? Could fixing it stop the surges, or was there something else I hadn't seen yet? I gripped the wheel, mind racing. Tomorrow, I'd have to decide. Confront Evan or find another way into that box. For now, all I could do was watch and wonder. Was the junction box at mile marker 6 the key to ending this? If you've ever had your lights flicker or your card fail at the same time each day, you're not imagining it. There's always a reason sometimes. You just have to look closer.